We just had a freaking world premiere of Children of Zeus. So it's a 45-minute piece for orchestra and chorus.
My name's Laura Thompson, and I'm singing a great piece by Wilbur Grundstrom, and it's The Children of Zeus here in the Baby Grand in Wilmington, Delaware.
I hope the audience found this piece of music as genuinely interesting as I did. I am really fascinated by it. There is so much there, and it is so beautiful. And usually when people say, oh, well, that was interesting, it's a backhanded compliment. I don't mean it that way. It is a genuinely interesting thing to sing, and a lot of people, when they think, oh, contemporary music, they think we're not going to like that. We'll come for the Beethoven, you know, and we'll sit through the modern piece.
This piece is very different. It's modern, but it speaks back to the classical period. And so even though it is modern and it feels modern, it doesn't have that atonal quality that a lot of modern music has. So it's got this beautiful, it is very beautiful to listen to. I think it's easy on the ears.
This was fabulous. It was melodic and beautiful, and I think, again, it just exceeds any preconceived notions that people might have about really fine contemporary music.
When I got home from that trip, I texted Brian and said, I think I have a commission for you. And he said, okay, yes. And I was like, I haven't even told you what we want. And he said, no, it's fine, yes.
Well, this has been an amazing adventure, and really to have Jeffrey Dokken just trust me like that. I mean, he just literally just like texts me, you want to do a commission? It's only orchestra and chorus, and as long as you want. And I'm like, well, how could I say no to that?
So what has grown out of that conversation is the world premiere you're about to hear called Children of Zeus. The 5-year anniversary of SONOVA happened to line up with the 30th anniversary of CoroAllegro. So this is a joint commission that we have done together. And in a few weeks' time, all the choristers you see on stage are also going to travel down to DC, and we're going to do the same concert again down there in the Washington, DC area.
Well, the original vision, I thought gods would be a great thing, right? And it turned out that each god has its own character, which worked wonderfully for me to program 5 different movements, was basically fast, slow, fast, more or less.
So Children of Zeus takes 5 of Zeus's major children. We have Aphrodite, Apollo, Ares, Hercules, and Dionysus. Each one of them gets their own special treatment. One of the things that was important to Brian and I when we were talking about this was picking text that might be new for some of us and looking at some new angles of these deities.
I love the lyrics. The storyline is fantastic. It's a really innovative concept, I think.
It feels like you're going to like a church of the gods in a way, and as we've been adding the pieces together and putting the chorus together, you really get that feeling, and I think that's exactly what he's going for, sort of a church of the gods storytelling, and it's really, really cool.
Beautiful timpani part, lots of brass, lots of percussion, and then the words from the choir just really capture the essence of each of these children of Zeus.
Two of the movements are very satirical, 2 of the movements have ancient texts, and then one of them is poetry by Keats. So we have texts that really run the gamut. And one of the things Brian did so brilliantly here was setting the text in the way that only he can to make you not only think about these deities in a new way, but also hear what maybe their leitmotif would be if they were walking down the street.
And a lot of the credit he found the text, and so the overall shaping and content was, yes, I had input, but he played a major role in that. It's a bit of a collaboration.
The thing that I want you to be paying attention to in this is not only the text, but also the atmosphere that Brian has created here, because that's what I take the most out of this. It's just this beautiful, beautiful atmosphere where each movement is a piece unto itself, but then they form together to make this spectacular, spectacular work.
Every movement with the different gods are completely different. They have different feelings and they have different colors in them. And it's very interesting to me to see where he's been taking the text from and how he weaves the text in and out of the music and how the text becomes a separate line. And it becomes this large overarching theme, and each god has its own personality, and so each movement from each god has a different personality, and you can really hear the thought that went into creating these different movements and different colors and lines for the different gods.
All of the words that he's incorporated and the way he's built the music around the words helps really bring out the emotion to the lyrics. And I'm enjoying feeling the music as well.
So some of the poetry that was set to music tonight was by Homer and some by Keats. Arthur Guterman did the Hercules, which is wonderful and clever.
Hercules being kind of a jovial political satire, and actually it was a little tongue-in-cheek, setting that so seriously to begin with. Even though this text was written a while ago, it seems strangely timely today. And Aphrodite was just gorgeous beauty. And then we go to Ares, which is the god of war and chaos. And we get some really chance to use some drums and dissonance and make a lot of noise.
Really portrayed, I've not been on a battlefield, but the senselessness of it and the non-stop facet of it is probably very horrifying, repetitive, and never ending. It was very effective. So that's one that has a lot of contemporary value, lest we forget. But he captured it very well.
And then we go to Dionysus, which is the god of wine. So he's more religious, ritual, ecstasy. And that was my favorite. I take this haunting melody, pare it down to its essentials. So I had just solo violin, bass pits, and harp, right? And then from there we added on the men, and then we added on the men and the women, and you just changed the orchestration, and to make it grow and swell over time in a nice, slow way.
The dark glade in the wood and the peacefulness, untouched, was a real echo of the first days of creation, I think. And then we move on to the last movement,
which is about Apollo. Apollo, that's actually the first movement I wrote, and it's big and bombastic and all about gods. And he's the catch-all god of all things culture.
The ode to Apollo, the sun god, is really about the strength and majesty of the sun as seen through the eyes of ancient man.
So in each of the pieces, I kind of had a bit of a structure. I had some sort of introduction, something a little more abstract, and then I make sure that each piece has a very melodic, catchable tune.
So you'll hear some different tonalities than you're used to hearing. You'll hear some polyrhythms where half of the orchestra is playing in 3 and the rest of the orchestra is playing in 4. It's awesome. It's perfectly easy for them. It's very hard for me.
I hope the audience can hear how much the choir loves this music. I think probably the orchestra as well. But I hope they can hear how much of ourselves we put into it, because really this music does resonate with us. We really love it. The melodies are fantastic. It's beautiful.
Yes, it's a wonderful piece. I am off book, which is great. I'll have my music with me though.
It has these beautiful colors that are being even interwoven, this beautiful tapestry that's being created so that you can hear the individual personalities of not only the gods that are being portrayed, but also the composer and the orchestra, and each instrument has its own line that it brings across.
Interesting. If it was the same instruments and everybody loud and fast the whole time, it would get pretty boring. So he does a good job of pairing interesting instruments and making them really quiet. I have a beautiful trumpet English horn duet at the beginning of one of the movements, which is just really unique and very pretty. And then
Yeah, at one point we have tuba and men. So yes, unusual pairings. I don't know, you have to explore all the different textures.
And then at other times, the whole orchestra playing fortissimo with the timpani just wailing away and the percussion going, and the choir just singing as loud as they can. So he does a good job of keeping interesting for the audience, while at the same time reflecting the mood that he wants for each of those parts.
If you're going to grow big, you have to have small to have some place to grow from. So just because I have 200 people, or however many I have, doesn't mean I have to use them all every minute of the time, because that would be just a wall of sound.
You said there are some odd pairings sometimes of some harmonies and melodies, I think you get to hear pieces of the orchestra independently sometimes that you wouldn't necessarily hear because they all kind of blend together, and I think that he did a masterful job of giving everybody their shot, and it sounds great together.
I played the third clarinet part, and it's very easy, I would imagine, to write a piece where the third part, or fourth part, or whatever the lower parts are kind of just filling in notes that need to be filled in. But one thing that I enjoy about some of the movements in this piece is that my parts are ones that I can kind of enjoy playing, and I feel like I know where they fit in.
There are a lot of times where it's percussion heavy in these sort of transitions, and you don't always hear that all the time. So we have a lot of time to ourselves, surprisingly. If you listen to it, you'll hear these I don't want to call them gaps, but they're transitions where percussion is very easily heard, and it's really great. Sometimes we blend a little bit, we provide a beat, but in this piece we get a lot of prominent sections.
The horn part in this piece, this overarching work, is very unique. It's not an idiomatic horn part, where usually we're playing very heroic sort of motifs and the line and the melody a lot. In this, we're sort of a background and more of like a color for each line, but then there's also these times where it's just the horns that are playing with the choir, and it has this beautiful warmth to it, and it adds a lot to the choral parts.
it was really wonderful to watch the chorus from week to week. I created rehearsal tracks for them, and they used them, and they appreciated them.
I have pieces that he had given us for practice, and I play them in my car, and it's really kind of nice. My 11-year-old son, he can actually sing along with me with a lot of the things. So even children are getting the emotion out of this music, and that's music that doesn't even have the words. It just has kind of the choral notes being played in a synthesizer sort.
Spent a lot of time on my own dealing with the music and encountering it, and came to love it very much.
And so every week when I'd see rehearsal, they sounded better and better and better. So I mean, first they're reading notes, and then they're starting to sing out a little bit. But then when they finally own it, that's where the music happens. So tonight they owned it.
The whole experience of becoming a friend of CoroAllegro and then having this opportunity to sing this gorgeous music is just fabulous.
It's been fun to watch him watch his work come to life. He's been a delight to work with, and we've been able to see how the whole piece comes together. We've had very good separate rehearsals. We had a very good one just now, and yeah, very, very exciting.
It was very practiced and organized, well organized, and if that was the first hearing of it, well, that was great.
And this is definitely a successful work.
I feel I made all these people sing for 45 minutes, and the audience went to their feet afterward, and I think I did my job.